Yeah, bro, she actually looks like a... She's an emo too.
Playdate, a troubled young teen,
My friend's alive though.
and one deadly secret. All of these elements are tied up together in a case that to
Her
this
name's also
day
Elizabeth.
is often regarded as one of the most disturbing and shocking. What is up, Iwu crew? Today we are exploring the infamous case of Alyssa Bustamante. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this.
From the moment Alyssa Bustamante was born to her teenage parents in January of
Never mind, she doesn't look like my friend, bro. My friend's pretty.
introduced to a world of endless trials and tribulations. Her mother, Michelle, who was only 15
Obama.
when she had Alyssa, was reported to struggle with raising her daughter,
Yeah,
and was described by news sources as a less than picture perfect mom.
well, what can you
Later
expect?
court documents reported that Michelle had
Come
a
on, bro.
history of misdemeanor convictions for drunken driving and marijuana possession. Alyssa's father, Cesar, was also alleged to have addiction issues, and police records show that he was eventually convicted of felony assault and was sentenced to serve 3 concurrent terms in prison.
I mean,
While Alyssa was still very young,
how many years?
the
15?
family
3
moved
concurrent?
frequently between California and Missouri. As a child, Alyssa, with 2 teenage parents who didn't appear to be ready to raise a child,
Fuck.
had already begun developing questionable behavior.
Oh, okay.
However,
It's hypersexual
this
stuff.
would only increasingly worsen after she and her younger brothers were taken in by their grandparents when Alyssa was around 8 years old.
Was it sexual stuff or was it...
Grandparents eventually achieved legal custody.
Look, it's a girl. If it was a guy and they say questionable behavior, I would think killing, animals and, like setting shit on fire, the standard psychopath thing, but
Of the 4
I'm thinking
children,
sexual.
the grandparents wanted to raise the children with more stability and brought
Might not
them
be.
to the small, quaint town of St. Martin's, Missouri, which had a population of just over 1,000 at the time. In the little town, crammed
That's a
right next to
tiny...
Jefferson
That's a
City,
tiny
everyone
town.
knew just about everyone.
Yeah, obviously.
Alyssa did not
Yeah, you have
adjust
one.
right away, though. In fact, it was difficult for
Oh,
Alyssa
wow.
to get used to living with her grandparents, and she allegedly struggled with depression and was reported to occasionally self-harm.
Oh my god, dude, it sounds a lot like my friend.
And attended Jefferson City High School, she began to develop a more edgy personality.
Oh my god, bro.
Often had strands of hair in front of her eyes due to her side-swept bangs, wore heavy eye makeup, and painted her nails black.
Yeah.
This was in contrast to the other young girls
It's...
she interacted with,
Yeah.
especially at the church she regularly attended, where she was known
Let
to
me guess.
participate in several different youth activities.
Let me guess. Yeah, bro, this is literally my friend's life.
Saw a girl with an edgy style. Alyssa was far from a typical
Yeah.
teenager.
She used to cut herself
Deep
and
inside,
what else?
She was stirring with distress and
What
turmoil.
else, bro? Probably some sexual abuse when she was young.
The young teen would show itself in disturbing and often upsetting ways at home. Online sources cite that Alyssa's mood would often fluctuate, and she developed a habit of taking rather questionable pictures of herself. This included selfies where her lipstick was smeared to look like blood, and another where her fingers imitated a gun to her head.
Okay, never mind, my
This
friend's not a
side of
schizo.
Alyssa only seemed to grow as time went on, and things continually worsened down the line, eventually culminating to a peak on one fateful Labor Day weekend in 2007. Alyssa was rushed to the hospital after carving the word hate on her arm and attempting to take her own life by overdosing on Tylenol.
Okay, you know what, bro? I'm not watching this video. This is eerily similar to a couple of my friends. Like, this is, like, this actual, that's, yeah, it's, oh, bro, it's literally like the same fucking story. It's so predictable. It's so predictable for me, dude. This is so predictable. So predictable, dude. Yeah, I mean,
After the scare, her grandparents knew they had to find help for Alyssa before things got even
yeah, let me
worse.
guess, bro. She listened to metal
Alyssa's
music too?
grandparents tried endlessly to find her aid, taking her to numerous counselors and
Let me
therapists.
guess, let me guess, let
Soon
me guess. They're gonna reveal she was probably abused when she was younger. Like, it's just.
after the incident, Alyssa was prescribed Prozac, an antidepressant. Despite their best efforts, Alyssa continued down a dark path,
Yeah.
one that would eventually lead to a terrible incident. Meanwhile, Elizabeth Olton, Alyssa's 9-year-old neighbor, was seen as the complete opposite. She was described by her mother as a sweet, girly girl, loving kittens and everything pink. On October 21st, 2009, Elizabeth Olton was at home practicing for a school play. Her
Fuck.
mother, Patricia Price, otherwise known as Patty, was just preparing for dinner
So
when there
she's
was
a
a
single
knock
mom.
at the door. It was one of Elizabeth's friends, 6-year-old Emma, who lived across the woods. She had walked over to see if Elizabeth could come play with her. Elizabeth, as any
W
child
friend,
would,
W
begged
friend.
to go and play
Yeah.
for just a few minutes. Reluctantly, Patty allowed her, but instructed
I
that
mean,
she
every
had to be
parent would.
back in an hour at
Yeah,
6
before
o'clock
sundown.
sharp.
Before sundown. Yeah.
Because of Elizabeth's fear of the dark, Patty was quite confident that her daughter would
Yeah,
be
would be
back
back. Yeah.
shortly.
Of course.
Excitedly, the two friends burst out the door and into the fresh air. Little did Patty know, an
That
innocent
was the
playdate
last.
would soon turn into a nightmare.
Fuck. Yeah, dude. This this story is eerily similar, except my friend didn't kill anybody. Yeah.
When it finally reached 6 o'clock, Elizabeth still hadn't
My friend
returned,
never hurt anybody.
and Patty had a terrible premonition. Immediately, Patty called her neighbor, hoping to hear that Elizabeth was still playing with Emma. Unfortunately, that was not the case.
Emma was back.
In fact, Patty was horrified to hear from her neighbors that Elizabeth had never made it to the
Huh?
house at all. After
Oh!
calling the police,
In the
Patty
forest.
went over to the neighbor's house.
Oh, in the
to be
forest.
sure that Elizabeth wasn't somewhere on the property. To her dismay, Elizabeth
What's up,
was
Skull?
nowhere to be found.
No, I was.
Police
It's
began
just.
a grid
I was doing
search,
some stuff,
and
bro.
hundreds of people in the community joined to
And
try and find the.
and like I was also getting a shit ton of clips from this one, but like I still need this much, bro. This was a great stream, and look, it's 15 days ago, so it's gonna it's gonna die. So yeah. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? This one. Yeah.
Missing Elizabeth.
We're gonna watch a
During
couple
the
of these, and then
search,
we out.
Investigators
Short
picked
stream.
Elizabeth's cell phone, which said it was located somewhere in the forest, and they directed their search to that area. A few volunteers had come across something a bit peculiar in the woods.
Oh, bro.
What appeared to be an empty grave.
Oh.
But still, there was no sign of the young girl. The FBI quickly became involved, and they soon questioned Emma. According to trial documents, she told investigators that she had played for a while, and then Elizabeth had headed back home. However, Emma, shortly after playing with Elizabeth, had fallen into a bush full of thorns and started crying before she called out, "Alyssa, come and help me." As it turned out, Alyssa Bustamante was Emma's half-sister, and Alyssa was in the area when the two young girls were playing. Alyssa, who was only 15 at the time, was questioned to see if she knew anything of importance about Elizabeth's disappearance. Alyssa lamented that she had no idea where the missing girl was.
Sure thing.
Police observed that Alyssa was calm and cooperative, and decided
Bustamante,
that
yeah.
at the time there was
Her
no
dad's called
reason
Cesar,
to
yeah.
suspect her. However,
She's Latina.
this would soon take a dramatic turn. Eventually, investigators brought her over to the area of the empty grave. There, Sergeant Rice and his forensics team were processing the area, and as Alyssa made her way over, Rice heard her say something rather strange. Alyssa
wasn't
said that
here.
she herself had dug the hole, but assured
Oh.
them that there was nothing sinister behind it. Instead, when Rice asked her why, she responded that she just liked to dig holes and that she would place dead animals in them on occasion. Although Alyssa made it sound like the grave was nothing to worry about,
The kid was
Sergeant
underneath it.
Rice found her explanation suspicious.
Yeah, that's extremely
While
weird.
FBI agents searched the...
Oh, really? You like to dig holes? Show me another hole you've dug. And then she goes, oh, okay, pulls her pants down. Ah, now you're a pedophile. You go to fucking jail, bitch. See, that's how you get them, Alyssa. You gotta be smart. You gotta be smart. Bro, if I was Alyssa, the cop goes to jail. The cop, you will dig in her, but she's 15, bro. Israel, you've been watching too much Zerka. If she's 15, I'm 15, he says. Jesus Christ.
For any sign of clues, one agent in particular investigated Alyssa's room.
It was the FBI, bro. It was the FBI. FBI showed up and said, hey, what were you saying? What were your viewers saying about a 15-year-old girl? It was the FBI, bro. All right, listen, we're back. Boys, I'm gonna change it soon. All right, I'm gonna get some money. I'm gonna get different internet. Gonna change all of this, boys. New time is coming. Don't worry.
Others were described by
I got you,
police as
boys. I got you,
appearing to have
boys.
been written in blood.
Wait, hold on.
By the officer was more than disturbing.
So they went to her room, right?
Home for any sign of clues. One agent in particular investigated Alyssa's room. What was found by the officer was more than disturbing. It was crucial evidence. Compared to the rest of the home, Alyssa's room was dark and dreary, with writing on the walls.
Oh, bro.
Although some of the notes on her walls were written in pen, others were described by police as appearing to have been written in blood. Along with the strange writing and postcards sent from her father from prison, investigators uncovered an unnerving drawing. Upon further inspection, it turned out to be a drawing of Alyssa's half-sister Emma, as titled on the paper. However, in a disturbing twist, Emma was drawn with slashes on her head and arm. As police continued through the room of horrors, they still hadn't found anything that could relate
shit,
to
Creepo, you
Elizabeth's
know what? I'd like to apologize to my friend. This story is nothing like my friend's, bro. My friend was just sad. I'm sorry for thinking this girl was like you, bro. What the fuck? This girl's a fucking schizo.
That is, until they found a diary written by Alyssa. The diary, while not innocent in the slightest, still had nothing of substance in relation to Elizabeth at first. Police flipped through the pages, discovering where Alyssa had previously written about burning down a house and killing its occupants. Police assumed that she was referring to her grandparents' house. The investigators turned to a page bearing the date of October 21st, 2009.
Why do these people do this?
Elizabeth vanished.
Oh,
the
no.
entry was oddly scribbled out in
No.
blue ink, and the only thing they could
No, my friend didn't write with blood on the walls or shit like that, bro. My friend didn't kill anybody. My friend didn't do any of this, bro. She just took some pills. She just took some pills and donated blood to some ghosts.
Properly make out at the time was the very last sentence, which read, "I gotta go to church now, LOL."
Bro.
The agents took the diary as potential evidence, with the intent to try and make out the rest of the entry later. When they eventually used black lighting to read what was scribbled under the blue ink, they had a glimpse of something incredibly disturbing. The two words "slit" and "throat."
I think something happens to the traumatized brain that makes it hard to just take pleasure in
I agree.
a raindrop falling on a leaf.
I agree. There's something about them, bro. Yeah, they become fucking serial killers. I agree.
Or seeing two kids play, or
I got no pleasure from seeing two kids play, bro. That's kind of pedophilic. What are you talking about?
Just the little things that give color and texture
What
to
the
their life.
fuck?
It's a real loss of innocence.
Wait, now he's talking about innocence and shit.
Real loss of.
Are they trying to turn me into a pedo?
Enjoying things for what they are, because there's always this perception of, is this
Why is that a
drama
kid?
again that interferes with feeling fully alive?
Is that the
And I think
uncle?
the important part for therapists is not to find solutions for their patients, because our brains have everything built in already. But our job is to keep people quiet and still enough so they can observe what happened back then without a total reliving flashback experience.
Okay, this guy's
It was also soon discovered that the same day as Elizabeth's disappearance, Alyssa had taken a day off from school, her first unexcused absence, which further increased the suspicion surrounding the 15-year-old. Alyssa was brought in to speak with police about what they had uncovered. Sergeant Rice took her diary into the interrogation room with Alyssa and her grandmother, but he did not yet reveal to the 15-year-old that he had it. A few questions later, Sergeant Rice informed her that he was in possession of her diary and told her that they had read the last entry. At first, Alyssa tried to say that she had indeed gone into the forest with Elizabeth, but she had not killed her. Instead, she claimed that Elizabeth hit her head and died immediately.
Okay, bro.
Up until this point, investigators had been holding out hope that the young girl could possibly be found alive.
Okay, dude.
Rice didn't buy Alyssa's story for a second. After clarifying that the real cause of death would be revealed in the autopsy.
Bro, she goes, slit throat, lamau, on her journal, and then she goes, nah, she hit her head. She hit her head, and then they're gonna find the body, and it's got a slit throat. It's just fucking satanic.
He asked her firmly, was her throat cut? To which Alyssa replied, yes. Alyssa's grandmother immediately started to cry after this shocking revelation, and soon left the interrogation room. Alyssa then admitted in detail the horrific acts she committed on that tragic day. Alyssa had instructed her young half-sister Emma to go and fetch Elizabeth and ask her to play. Of course, Alyssa's intent was far from simply letting the two girls enjoy a playdate. Her sinister plot unraveled from there, as she told Emma to go home after she had brought Elizabeth to her. It was then that she led her into the forest. In the police report, Rice quoted Alyssa as saying to 9-year-old Elizabeth, I've got something really neat to show you. It's
bro,
just
she's
a
a
little
monster.
further up here.
Bro, she's a monster.
Then
No, she's
Alyssa
a monster.
lured Elizabeth to where she had already dug a grave deep in the woods.
She's a real monster.
Alyssa began to strangle Elizabeth. It didn't end there, though. Alyssa then stabbed her in the chest multiple times and slit her throat. She proceeded to bury her in one of the two graves she had dug, and went back home as if nothing had ever happened. Alyssa, who was but a child herself, had violently ended another child's life in the most brutal way possible. After Alyssa's horrific confession, she then led investigators to Elizabeth's body, tucked away in the woods. Elizabeth, covered in mud and leaves, was found partially buried mere inches under the ground. A sad and gruesome sight. After the autopsy, it was revealed that Elizabeth was killed in the exact way that Alyssa had described to Rice, with 8 stab wounds to the chest. Eventually, investigators were able to use the blue light to uncover the rest of Alyssa's sick entry. It read, I just killed someone. I strangled them and slit their throat, and now they're dead. I don't know how to feel at the moment. It was amazing. As soon as you get over the, oh my god, I can't do this feeling, it's pretty enjoyable.
And she's even typing like a retard. Amazing. Bro. Send her to the bottom pits, bro. Send her to the bottom pits. Send her to fight the Rancor. Let the Rancor eat her. Just let the rancor go.
I'm kinda nervous and shaky right now, though. Okay, I gotta go to church now, LOL.
Oh my god, bro, she types like a
While
retard.
the entry itself is disturbing enough,
Yeah, I'm not gonna
as
lie,
the
I used to
investigation
type like that. I
more
still do.
unbelievable details were uncovered. Police found evidence that Alyssa had told a friend that she wondered what it would be like to kill someone.
Oof.
On Alyssa's YouTube, she had listed her hobbies, including killing people.
Okay, bro.
As well, a
Cringe.
diary entry written a week prior to Elizabeth's death read, "If I don't talk about it, I bottle it up, and when I explode, someone's gonna die." When police asked why she had killed Elizabeth, Alyssa chillingly explained that she just wanted to know what it felt like to kill someone.
Jesus Christ.
Some theories speculate that Elizabeth had not been her original target. Instead, it's widely believed that she initially wanted to kill her two brothers, which would explain why she had dug the two graves. Hauntingly, following digging the graves, she had gone to school and lived her life as usual, though she appeared to be making plans to kill someone. A disturbing video Alyssa uploaded onto her YouTube page is often pointed to as evidence for the speculated theory that she had initially targeted her brothers. In the video, she convinces her brothers to touch an electric cattle fence. Before it shows her brothers touching the fence, a text title appears saying, "This is where it gets good. We get to see my brothers get hurt." On January 30th, 2012, Alyssa's trial began.
She's a demon.
She was tried as an adult and pled guilty to second-degree murder and armed criminal action.
She's an actual demon.
However, Alyssa's confession was then suppressed, and her defense team was offered a plea deal, which they accepted. Alyssa was ultimately convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison with the chance of parole.
No,
She
no
also
chance of
had had an
parole.
additional 30 years added because of the armed criminal action charge. This meant that Alyssa would serve a little over 35 years in prison before being eligible for parole. Needless to say, this upset Elizabeth's family as well as much of the public.
Yeah, they wanted her to die.
Elizabeth's father, who was in prison on a state drug conviction at the time of the murder, had pleaded in a letter sent to court for Alyssa to receive the maximum sentence before she had been convicted. To Elizabeth's father, it didn't seem fair that while Elizabeth had no chance to live her life, Alyssa could possibly have the chance to live hers after serving time in prison. Alyssa made a statement during her sentencing while the Olton family sat
Listen, man,
stony-faced
35
nearby.
for a woman is
She
very
said,
hard.
"I cannot even understand what you guys are going through. I am sorry for that. If I could give my life to bring her back,
No, you
I
wouldn't.
would, and I'm sorry."
Ah, come on, no, you wouldn't.
Understandably,
Do it then.
the Olton family
Do
was
it
not
then.
even close to accepting the
Do it.
teenage murderess's apology.
Do it, bro. Do
Since
it right
the
now.
trial,
Prove it. Prove it right now.
Elizabeth's
Prove it right now.
mother, Patty,
Prove it right now.
has settled a wrongful death lawsuit
Right now.
against Alyssa, which requires her to pay her more than $5 million. In 2021, Alyssa
gonna pay
Bustamante has
this?
quite a few persistent supporters, mostly online. On chat forums, some people have commented that they love her, while others say that they would love to be friends with her.
There's a lot of pedos,
Many
bro.
of these supporters believe that
lot of
Alyssa,
pedos.
who is now around the age of 27, still might have a chance to turn her life around.
No.
And some even think she should be released from
No.
prison.
Sorry, but no.
There is an interesting and popular theory surrounding Alyssa and her use of antidepressants as a potential factor in her crime. In fact, this theory came up during her trial.
Bro.
At the time of Elizabeth's death, Alyssa was taking Prozac, and her dosage had increased a considerable amount only a few weeks before she committed the crime.
Nah, she would have killed herself.
Antidepressants are
If she
known
was
to
on them.
have some awful side effects.
Yeah,
But
but
Prozac is supposedly on a completely different level. According to LiveScience.com, Prozac is most commonly linked to
Disassociating,
aggression
right?
and known to increase violent behavior by 10.9 times. This
Well,
fact
yeah,
has led
but
some to
10.9
speculate that the
times out of
antidepressant
what?
could possibly have played a role in Alyssa's behavior. According to The Guardian, young people taking antidepressants such as Prozac or Seroxat are significantly more likely to commit violent crimes
How much?
when
Okay,
on the medication.
okay. You know what? I'll take it. But how much more significant? Right? What are we talking about? Does it make you like? Let's say you got 100 children, right? 5 of them are gonna do crime, right? Is it significant to add one more? 6, right? If you have 100 children who don't do the drug, 100 children who do the drug, do you have 5 and 6? Or 5 and 7? Or do you have 5 versus 50? 5 versus 10, 15, 25. Oh, now there's a problem, right? But if it's 5 to 6 to 7, like,
Which supports this theory.
so you need the
However,
numbers. You need the
it
numbers.
continues.
For shit like this, you need the
But
numbers.
taking higher doses of the drugs appear to reduce that risk, scientists say. This additional information appears to discredit the theory, since her dosage had in fact
need the numbers.
increased. And yet, The Guardian also cites that in a study looking at correlations between crime rates and people who are prescribed drugs like Prozac and Seroxat, it found that people in younger age groups, ages 15 to 24, have a much higher chance of committing violent crimes while on the medication, a hefty 43%. Despite these statistics,
Hefty
Dr. Anthony
43%
Rothschild,
out of what?
the main
43% out of what? Like total? So you're telling me if you have 100 people, if you're telling me, dude, the thing is, with these things, you need the numbers, man. You really do. You really do need the numbers with these kinds of things. Because, for example, the type of people who get put on Prozac are not normal people, right? They're not normal people. They're people who have probably attempted suicide. They're people who have had horrible childhoods. You know, the people who are heavily depressed. You know what I mean? They're not normal people. So, does the Prozac make you more likely to hurt somebody else? Or is it the depression and the, you know, the psychotic episodes, the this, the that, the other? You know, we need to see the numbers, bro. Whenever somebody says like 50% more, like for example, if somebody tells you, hey man, if you take that, if you eat this meat, you have your likelihood of getting cancer, of getting, I don't know, liver cancer goes up 700%. Okay. But then and you're like, yeah, that's a lot. But then they tell you, well, the likelihood of you getting liver cancer is 0.001. So 700%, it's 0.007. Well, no, it's yeah, 0.007. So it's like, okay, who gives a fuck? But then if somebody says, hey, this drug gets you a 10% increase, right, of getting, I don't know, skin cancer, and your probability of getting skin cancer is 20%, well, 10% is 22%. Now, you know what I mean? That's 22%. That's a lot. That's a lot. So that 10% is way more than the 700%. You gotta give me the numbers, bro. You gotta give me the numbers. Otherwise,
execution witness in Alyssa's trial on the
it's kinda
second
useless.
day of the sentencing hearing denies this theory adamantly by saying, there is no reliable evidence in the medical and scientific literature that Prozac causes people to
well,
commit murder.
okay, so that's also Kind of
Although
stupid,
these
right?
theories are interesting
Yeah, it
to
won't cause
consider,
you to commit
the
murder, but
fact still
maybe it does
stands
make you
that
more
either way, Elizabeth
uh
Olten's murder was committed by
likely
Alyssa
to like not stop
Bustamante.
yourself. Maybe it does.
No matter the opinions over alleged reason,
Maybe it doesn't make you more aggressive. Maybe it makes you less mindful to pull that aggression back. You know what I mean? Because, like, for example, we've all seen ourselves kind of get angry, start getting angry, and say, "Nah, I gotta chill out. I gotta chill out. I'm not gonna get angry." And a lot of people do chill out, and a lot of people say, "Nah, let me rage." Right? We've all been in that situation. Does the Prozac make you more likely to get into that situation, or does it make you less likely to like say, you know what, I gotta chill, I gotta chill, I gotta chill?
behind the murder, Elizabeth's
Yeah,
family must still bear
Valium,
the
yeah,
burden of
Valium
knowing
is
that they will never see the happy little girl again because of Alyssa's dark choices. Sweet Elizabeth, who only wanted to go and play outside before dinner, didn't even have the chance to make it back home. Patty has commented that she hates Alyssa and has also tearfully stated, "So much has been lost at the hands of that monster. Elizabeth was given a death sentence, and we were given a life sentence."
fuck. Fuck. Yeah, bro, boys, I'm not gonna lie to you. If I was the parent of one of these children that got murdered, dude, I in GTA, listen, in GTA, okay, if somebody shoots my friend in GTA and then they go to jail in GTA, I would get the guards to maybe not keep a good eye on that person. You know what I mean? In GTA. That kind of shit, you're doing something for pain. Yeah, it's just. Oof. Dude, the thing is with the mental illnesses, you don't even know, man. People don't really take them seriously. People say, nah, that shit's fake. Or whatever. A lot of people say that shit's fake. A lot of people, like, just don't be depressed. Don't be this. Don't do that. And a lot of other people just say, hey, take the medicine. Like, dude, for example, I know a bipolar guy. I know a bipolar guy who didn't take his medicine for like a week or something. Didn't take lithium, I think. The guy went berserk. Mom, hi mom. Mom, remember the guy who beat his mother to death from our hometown? Right? Like, I know a guy, well, I know the story of a guy. My mom actually knows him, right? Beat his mother to death, pushed her down the stairs. She lost an eye. She was in the hospital dying, right? All because the guy didn't take his fucking lithium, right? And as soon as he's on the lithium, he's not doing any of that shit anymore. So, it's weird, man. And we still don't even know how the lithium works. Like, there's a lot of drugs that we know or we think work, but we don't know how. So, let's say, for example, if somebody has like bipolar personality disorder, but also has psychotic breaks, maybe the same shit doesn't work on them. Maybe the same shit that works on a person with BPD doesn't work, right? Maybe the drugs that work on somebody who just had psychotic breaks doesn't work. Maybe you need some other shit. Because there's so many things that go on in the mind that we can't even fathom, like disassociating, like rage and being yourself to stop, like being able to stop yourself from raging, like recognition, you know. Yeah, it was fucking terrible. Guy killed his mom, dude. Beat her up, pushed her down the stairs, lost an eye. She died at the hospital. Fucking horrible. Horrible.
Though we have recently seen a remarkable number of cold cases and missing persons
Yeah.
solved, Some cases
I think she
are
was like
still
60
shrouded in
something. He
mystery
was
and
40,
questions
30.
decades after
Like, this guy was 38, 30 something. Middle aged, dude. And mum, had he ever done anything like that? Like, had he ever done, like, did he ever, like, were there any other stories of him being aggressive in the past? Like, yeah, dude, imagine being 38 or something like that and then just killing your own mother.
first began. And sometimes these cases gain notorious reputations.
Yeah, I know he killed his
for
mum, but
haunting those who have tried to solve them.
did he do anything before that?
What is up, Iwu crew? We are
Like,
taking
did he
a
have
look
a
at
history
case that has done just that.
of anger?
Today's case is
You know?
one of the oldest
I'm asking
unsolved
because you
missing
know,
persons cases in Minnesota. And with each year that passes, it has only become more of a mystery.
Hold on, let me ask my
Let's
mom.
get into it. On January 12th, 1993, a 17-year-old girl named Hang Lee left her family's apartment in St. Paul, Minnesota to interview for a new job.
There we go.
It was a cold, dark night, and the Midwestern capital had just received its first major snowfall of the season. This was the night everything went wrong. Hang Lee was born on October 9th, 1975, in a refugee camp in the small Southeast Asian.
Yeah, my mom just said no, he didn't have a history of being aggressive. Holy fuck. Dude, that's the kind of shit that scares me. That's the kind of shit that scares me. All of a sudden, you lose your fucking mind. Like, you have no history, and then you're 38, and all of a sudden, you just kill your own mother. Oh, fuck me, bro. That's scary as fuck. Because that could happen to anybody, right? Because, like, look, I don't steal, I don't hurt people, I don't do any of that shit. So I'm like, nah, my mom's safe, bro. My mom's safe. You know, my brother doesn't do any of that shit either. So you know what? My mom's Gucci. But then you tell me a story of a guy who was normal and then lost his fucking mind at 38. Now I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Mom, hide when I'm 38. Hide. Yeah, it's fucking weird, man.
Country of Laos. Her parents were from the Hmong ethnic group. During the United States,
I
involvement
hate the
in Southeast
unpredictability
Asia
of it,
in
man.
the 1960s and 70s.
And he was
The
depressed.
Hmong people often allied themselves with the
Oh,
Americans
and that set it
to
off.
fight against the North Vietnamese and the Pathet Lao.
Hey, listen, good thing is,
After the defeat of
I've already been depressed and I never had one of those psychotic breaks. So we're Gucci, boys. My mom's safe. Mom, you're gonna live. Yay.
the United States backed Hmong forces in the so-called Secret War,
Oh.